Today we are going to be learning about collective nouns, which means our I can do statement is I can use collective nouns when writing. So pause and think about what you know about collective nouns. Do you know anything about collective nouns? Do you know anything about nouns? Let's stop and find out. Okay, so let's think about what a noun is. So a noun is a person, place, or thing. A person could be me, you, mom, dad. A place could be school, home, pretty much anywhere in the world. And then we have a thing. So the picture shows us things at school, scissors, glue, things like that we know of. Here are some more examples of nouns. So we have person, place, and thing. Take a look and see if you recognize any of these nouns or if you can come up with any more. Now let's move on to a collective noun. A collective noun is just a special kind of noun. It's just a group of nouns, a group of people or things that are considered one unit or one whole. So as you can see in the picture, you have a flock of birds. That would be a collective noun, your flock of birds. Let's take the time and look at some more examples. So here we have some examples of collective nouns. We have people, animal, and things. So under people, we have a band of men, a cast of actors, and a stack of librarians. Under animals, we have a brood of hens, a colony of gulls, and a flight of birds. Under things, we have a batch of cakes, a bottle of milk, and a bowl of rice. So when we look at these collective nouns, we see that they all start with a or an. This usually becomes before the collective noun. We can also see after the collective noun is the word of, followed by another noun telling who or what belongs in the group. This means that in a band of men, men make up the band, or in a cast of actors, actors make up the cast. This is under the people category. Now let's move on to some more examples. So now I took the collective nouns and used them in a sentence. So I have a cast of actors are performing in front of a live audience tomorrow. So we have multiple actors that are performing. So actors make up the cast. We also have a flight of birds are moving south for the winter. So birds make up the flight. And last we have a bowl of rice is sitting on the table for dinner. So rice, a bunch of rice, make up what's in that bowl. So we have to think of multiple things made into one group when we write our sentences. When we write our sentences, we also have to make sure our subject and our verb agree. So our subject is our collective nouns. So if you look at the first sentence, a cast of actors are performing in front of a live audience tomorrow. Our noun or collective noun is cast of actors. Are performing is our verb. We have to make sure that whether they're both singular or they're both plural that they match. On the next one, we see a flight of birds are moving. So our flight of birds is multiples and our are is plural. So we both have plural. The last one is a bowl of rice is sitting. We only have one bowl of rice, so it is singular, and is sitting is singular. So they agree. So now we have to be able to recognize the collective nouns in the sentence. So what is the collective noun in the sentence? A litter of cubs were spotted by hikers on the trail. Pause the video and take time to think about this. In the sentence, a litter of cubs were spotted by hikers on the trail, the answer is litter of cubs. The cubs make up the litter. So we have to think about this as a group. A litter is the group, and it's made up of cubs. The next sentence is, a can of soda is sitting on the counter from lunch. What is the collective noun in this sentence? In the sentence, a can of soda is sitting on the counter from lunch. The correct answer is can of soda. Soda is in the can. So can is just one can, but there's multiple soda or sodas in this can. Now we're going to take the time and create our own sentences. So I've given some collective nouns below that I want you to create sentences with. So we have a band of men, a carton of milk, a flock of turkey, an army of ants, a class of students, and a batch of bread. So when we create our sentences, we need to think what they're doing. So we have to make sure that our subject and our verb has agreement. So they're either both plural or they're both singular. So we already have our collective nouns. So now we just need to create the verb agreement with it. So make sure we're thinking about that. Go ahead and pause the video and think about some sentences and what we came up with. So now that we look back on the sentences we made, let's make sure they're right. So one sentence that I thought of is an army of ants is headed toward the kitchen. So we have an army of ants. We have one army of ants that are headed towards the kitchen. So that's a sentence I thought of. We have a class of students are doing something. What are they doing? A class of students are working on homework. So we have one class filled with students, right? So we are a class of students. Make sure all of our sentences make sense. Once we're done with that, you can work on collective nouns and use them in your writing to make it more creative and more exciting for the reader.